Well, after I beat someone and slosh around on their guts for a while, I like to wear balloon animals. Live from the RamCave, I'm Joe Terozine, and this is RamView, the September 15th, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at Temple City Auto Repair.com. Yeah, I was thinking about that Titan game, and my mind went back to that old line, is that, you know, when I shot someone and I was sloshing around in their guts, right? And nothing I like better doing than sloshing around their guts is to make balloon animals. It sounds really crazy and silly thing to say, but after a certain point, after there was some stress there in the first half, and I was so afraid somebody was going to text me and tell me the outcome, I was super relieved. In fact, I don't know if I was as happy as I was just relieved. You know, when you get relieved, the stress goes away and everything. And I was just ready to slide. That's yesterday. So it was a great win for the Rams, 33-19. And we did a brief RamView wrap-up. We did it live on LA Rams of Inglewood on Facebook, but we also downloaded it, and it's here. It's available. It's just some quick thoughts right after the game, and we're going to build on that today. Now, I've been advocating for a staggered start to the doubleheader in Monday Night Football. They staggered it, and I had talked about moving RamView back to 4 o'clock on Mondays, and now the first game's going at 4. So if you guys aren't here, don't worry. I'm not mad or anything like that. Other times I could be mad, but I won't be mad about that. Let's just get to it. I guess Matthew Stafford's healthy, right? I guess Matthew Stafford is healthy. All right, good. Now we can all feel better. We can get along with our business. If he gets hurt, it's going to be because he got hurt. It's not because something was still there. You've seen him move. You've seen the throws he made. Even when he made a bad throw, a horrible interception, you loved his response to that. If you saw the post-game press conference, when he just said, hey, man, next time I get it, I just got to do better. And so you just love that about him. And I'm in a place right now where I'm ready to have a long discussion about him. Who's better? Best Rams quarterback of all time. I didn't see Van Brocklin. I think Van Brocklin was better than Waterfield. I didn't see Gabriel in his prime. I did see Warner, but I'm looking at Stafford and just everything he does, and I just really like Matthew Stafford. A couple things that bugged me about this game. Well, I'll get to them in order. You know, one of the things that we've been talking about quite a bit here is Rams get goal-to-go situations, and first two times they're inside goal-to-go. First time was at the 3, second time was at the 9. They ran 6 plays, and they were all pass plays. And they ended up settling for 21-yard field goals by Cardi. Okay, you got something out of it, but, you know, it's like we forget to run inside the 10. And then on the third time they got in a goal-to-go situation was the touchdown pass to Davis Allen, and I don't know how a ref missed that being a touchdown and had to get it overturned in review. But it was 7 plays in the red zone to that point, and the Rams passed on every single one of them. Good stuff there. You know, you're looking at the receivers. You're looking at everything there. You loved what the Rams did, right? A little slow start. Hopefully that's still some getting back into football shape play over there, but you had to love what they did. We're going to talk about the injury report, the offensive line, defense, this receiving duo, the future of Tutu Atwell, and then we're going to look around the NFL and other places because I know we want to watch football tonight. I really don't want to be the guy that gets in the way. I'll keep yakking, and if you want to go and come back and watch it, you're free to, and I won't be upset. But you guys have clicked on Bill. There we go. Yes, Bill, you stole my notes. So some of you guys are stealing my notes. More Corum, less Williams. I don't say this on less Williams because I don't like Williams. He's Williams. He's Kyren Williams. He does his job, right? 2 games, no fumbles, right? I told you he would have this cleaned up. But Corum just looked more explosive. He just does, right? He just looks more explosive. Yeah, I'm wondering how that's going to play out. I'm glad the contract is 3 years. I'm glad the contract is not exorbitant. It's something you can work with, because Kyron Williams is still going to continue to contribute. I think it was about 2 years ago, before he broke out in 2023, I said he reminded me of the former Patriot Kevin Falk. Remember Kevin Falk? Played about 10, 11 years. He was never the feature back for New England, but he was just a third down back. He was a utility back. Just went in there, did a good job. I don't think he ever ran for more than 400 yards. Usually caught about 30 passes a season, but he was a really dependable guy for Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady. And that's where I saw Kyron Williams. But of course, Kyron Williams was far better than that. But even so, he can play other roles on this team. He got his money. His ego might have to take a little punishment, because I think you got to take advantage of Blake Corum while you have him, right? I think you do. And so, yeah, USA expat a lot less Williams. Okay. Need a healthy Fisk. Yeah, Fisk had an oblique issue or something. I was curious, and again, I'm getting ahead of my notes here, guys. So you're throwing off the show, but that's okay. Did you notice, like late in the first half, Pollard was running the ball really well, and then in the second half, they were doing the Rams' offense front line. That front seven looked tired, looked like they were getting pushed around, and that really gave me concern. Was at the start of the second half, Murchison and Ty Hamilton were getting a lot of snaps. They ended up with 14 snaps each. They didn't have 5 snaps between them in the first game, and they were getting 14 snaps apiece. And it just made me curious, like, okay, what's going on? Where they said it was hot on the field. Now we find, Fisk had the oblique, was Poona Ford worn out. Just curious about what that was, because that was a lot of snaps for those guys. And so I was a little concerned about the front line. Bill, Corum has pep in his step. He is more hungry than Williams. Well, Williams got his money, right? I don't want to besmirch Williams. I think Williams is fine, but Corum does have a quicker step. Tim Burns, Tutu was paid what? He is an afterthought. Tutu Williams was paid 10 rocks guaranteed. By the time you get into the season, how much are the Rams still going to owe him? I don't know, $7 million or something. I could see him getting Van Jefferson. If you remember back in, was it 23? Jefferson got traded right at the start of the year to Atlanta. And I think his number could be up, because I can't figure it out, right? Can't figure it out. We always hear you got to get Tutu more involved in the offense. That's on McVay again. You can't fault Atwell for that drop yesterday. He got plastered and such. He played 26 snaps. Out of 61 offensive snaps, he played 26. So he's playing a little more than a third of the snaps. I get it. Whittington's hard to keep off the field. You're seeing Kanata Mumfield come out on the field now on offense. You're seeing Xavier Smith. So I got a feeling they could Van Jefferson him. And here's the thing for Atwell. He might be willing to go, and why not Kansas City? They need an explosive player. There's going to be teams out there that need a receiver that can move really fast. Nothing wrong with his hands, nothing wrong with his speed, nothing wrong with him in the locker room. He's just a little light weight-wise, but teams have made guys like that work. And, you pick him up someplace else, they might be figuring, hey, we got a shot at getting something more out of this guy as he plays for another contract. So, yeah, I could see Atwell going the Van Jefferson route real soon, maybe by the deadline. USA expat, Puka's 44-yard run, longest since 2023. Yeah, pour some Puka on me. That was sweet. 4th down. And I loved it because I was listening to a Ram broadcast. I don't know if it was broadcast or podcast, but they said, look how creative it was. It was on 4th and 1, and they ran that jet sweep. Super Bowl 56. It's 4th and short yardage. And what did the Rams do on the final drive? I think inside their own 50, inside their 40, they ran that jet sweep to Cooper Kupp, right? And Bryson Hopkins made the block and everything. But yeah, I thought it was kind of funny that we've never seen that before. We've seen it. Let's see here. More Whittington, less Atwell. I think you're seeing that, Bill. Absolutely. Micah Gutierrez, Puka plus Devontae looked as advertised today. Also, I didn't have Davis Allen leading the team receiving TDs on my bingo card. Hey, Davis Allen is on a pace to score 17 touchdowns this year. There you go, right? What I loved was the confidence that Stafford had in going to both receivers. I think what we saw was what we had hoped for with Kupp and Nakua playing together last year, and you just didn't see it. But Adams is still much more in his prime, and then of course Puka is just coming into his prime, and so those are two receivers, and Stafford's willing to go to either one, and both of them are getting open, and so that's really exciting. Best receiving tandem the Rams have had since Holt and Bruce, or Bruce and Holt, since Bruce is in the Hall of Fame. Tim Burns, Josiah looked great. 2 games, 2 big plays, right? Deflected pass against Houston in week 1, sack in week 2. Yeah, he did look good. That's going to be another interesting one because it was clear Keir Thomas was going to make this team. And so he went on injured reserve. He comes back, it looked like maybe he was being groomed. I know that's a poor word nowadays, groomed, but it looks like he was being prepared to be the new Michael Hoyt. And because he's a little heavier. He's had his hand in the dirt before. That's not Josiah Stewart, but Josiah Stewart, 2 weeks, 2 plays in a reserve role. I'm wondering if Keir Thomas comes back, does that put Nick Hampton in jeopardy on this roster? And he got some snaps yesterday as well. Let's see. ESG, Blake Corum seems to have more explosive first step than Williams. Absolutely. Jesus 50, Williams is the jab, Corum is the knockout blow. There you go. I think it's great the Rams got 2 running backs, right? And we're going to find out if they have a third as the season goes on. McVay did mention Jarquez Hunter. He said, we do have Jarquez too. So he's still in McVay's radar. If McVay mentions you, it means he likes you. And so maybe this becomes a 3-headed beast. But definitely, I got no problem with the 2. No problem at all. Let's see. Corum should get another series, but calm down. It was 40-ish yards. He has the 3rd most TDs in the last 2 years. Corum has 1. Hey, I'm the first one, Mr. Burns, not bagging on Byron on Kyron. It's just we saw it, and I don't want Kyron going anywhere. I want Kyron on the field, but you have to acknowledge what Corum has in terms of explosiveness. USA Expat, what if Blake gets more than 5 carries a day, 5 carries, day 10, and still maintains that 8.8 yard average? I think that would change things. Steve Ramirez, by the way, more Corum, by the way, the 20s, but Kyron is a dog inside the 10. If they'd give it to him, guys, thank you, Steve. If they give it to him, Rams got a bad habit of passing in 1st and goal situations. USA Expect, glad they got their tight ends involved in the passing game. Yeah, it was interesting. Higbee out there getting knocked around. Let's see. ESG, Whittington's not only good with his hands, but he's also a good blocker. Yes, he is. Whittington's blocking on Puka's 45-yarder was impressive. And you also saw that. You saw Devontae Adams getting out there. Looked like Devontae Adams got away with a hold on that, actually. But yeah, out there blocking, not afraid to the diva so-called receiver, which I don't think Devontae Adams is, was willing to get in the mix. Since we're speaking of tight ends, I made a note of it. Sean McVay spoke about it. Lance Ferguson got some snaps yesterday, but again, when the PAT got blocked, showed a lot of character running down that guy in a game that was pretty much over, and that was really cool. That was exemplary on Ferguson's part, and it kind of gives you an idea why the Rams drafted him. Okay, all I got on the injury report right now is Akilla Witherspoon's going on the IR. Rams are looking to sign somebody. And with that said, I don't know who they're going to sign. That's kind of a bummer for AJ Green and Cam Langford on the practice squad, but I think it's a good idea. Darius Williams is old. We don't know if Emmanuel Forbes can hold up for a whole season and then, of course, Kobe Durant. All three of those guys played well yesterday. But here's the silver lining for Ahkello Witherspoon, who's been playing great, is this is who Ahkello Witherspoon is. He can't play an entire season. Otherwise, the Steelers and other teams probably wouldn't have given up on him. But he never plays a full season, and so he needed to have a pitch count, so to speak, with his snaps. And he's returning later in the year. This injury wasn't to his legs, right? It's the clavicle. Then by the back half of the season, mid-season or whatever, when he's healthy, he comes back, and now we've got a fresh Witherspoon down the stretch, a guy who can make plays, and then add him to the room with whoever the Rams get. So that was good news. Well, not good news. It's good news it wasn't his legs. It wasn't his knee. It wasn't anything else. Clavicle. It's still a bummer, but that's the silver lining. Braden Fisk was missing some snaps. They said it's an oblique, played through it, feeling better. Avila making progress, and no report on Colby Parkinson. And I don't know if anyone missed Colby Parkinson. Colby Parkinson's about as popular in LA as Deshaun Foster is in Westwood. So we don't know what's going on there. Offensive line, last week, Alaric Jackson was dogged out by PFF and the experts. And this week they graded him at 80.6, if you believe what they say. One thing you can say for all five starters played all 61 snaps along the offensive line. That was great. No one was hobbled off. But here was the interesting one. In place of Avila, it wasn't Bo Limmer. It was Justin Diedick, who started 3 games last year. Wasn't great, but he was solid. He wasn't Logan Bruss. Wasn't Bobby Evans, right? He wasn't Matt Skura, right? So Justin Diedick, we knew he had made this team, and they valued him. But he got that spot at left guard and played every snap. Now, Limmer wasn't hurt. He was in on special teams. But that's something to keep an eye on. I thought that was really interesting. I don't have any more news on that. Let's see. Davis Allen might be on pace to score 17 touchdowns this season. But seriously, doesn't it seem like Byron Young is on pace to be an all-pro, right? Now, I know he was going up against a low-level tackle yesterday, but he did what he was supposed to do. He got a couple of sacks. It's one thing to go against those guys, but you got to exploit them, and he did. And he was good last week as well. And Byron Young, man, he's in his 3rd year, contract year becomes next year. He's not free agent next year. It's his last year of a contract, but he's making noise that he wants to stay. Hey, sign him early. Give him some bread. Keep him around. I love the relationship he has with Jared Verse. I just really, really do like this team. I like Byron Young, Josiah Stewart, Kobe Turner. Now, PFF had the Rams credited with 5 sacks. I only had them with 4. They gave Cam Curl one. Did I miss it? Did Cam Curl get a sack? Didn't see it. I mentioned Murchison and Hamilton getting playing time. DeJuan Johnson was inactive, so I think Hamilton may have passed him on the depth chart. Speaking of Emmanuel Forbes, he was burned a few times yesterday, but those were some great throws, fortunate passes. Honestly, he had great coverage on, was it Altamire, the Tennessee receiver. There is no way Cam Ward should have made that pass, right? No way. That pass shouldn't have happened. That's a pass that Josh Allen throws, Patrick Mahomes, someone along those lines. Cam Ward may be one of those guys, but he's not one of those guys now. No one's going to make that throw. And he made that throw, and so Forbes gets dinged for it. The other one that Altamire had a one-handed catch that Tennessee was wise enough to get up to the line quick enough to make sure that it couldn't be reviewed. I thought it could have been a little bit questionable, but Forbes also had a nice punch out there. I think towards the end of the first quarter, he played well. Darius Williams came in and played well. And so, you feel real comfortable. Cam Curl and Quentin Lake, I think, played all the snaps. Cam Kitchens is out there making plays. Nate Landman is out there making plays. Omar Spates is out there chasing guys down. You have to like this defense. You really, really have to like this defense as they head into Philly next week. Okay, long segment there. I'm Joe Terosian, sports writer for 21 years. And now I contribute to Mid-Valley Sports. I don't work there, help out my friends. And I do RamView. They cover the Chargers. I do RamView. Thanks to our sponsors at Kistler Law. Please be sure to check out Kistler Law. If you have any auto injury issues or auto questions, they're there for you. I know it firsthand. They are the best in the business. I also write books. My books are on Amazon, and you can check them out there. I've written 3 football novels, 2 high school, 1 NFL, and that novel is The Rams Playing the Packers in the NFC Championship game. I'm hoping sales will really improve if that's the case, right? That would be pretty cool. So be sure to check those things out. They help keep me employed in my day job, as I pastor a small church in Burbank called Burbank Faith Nazarene, and you can find us right here on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual, burbankfaithvirtual.com, and Burbank Faith Virtual all across social media. All right, before we get into next week, let's do around the NFL and other places. Joe Burrow gone for 3 months. 3 months. Now, here was something, it's typical Burrow, right? Okay, he played all year healthy, gets they get the receivers taken care of, and then he goes down. That's good for Jake Browning, right? He's got those 2 guys to throw to. So it's still Cincy in, Cincy luck, always in, always bad. Cowboys side, Jadeveon Clowney hoping to slow down opponents after that shootout with the Giants yesterday. And J.J. McCarthy out for week 3. I'm also he might be out for week 3, but it was interesting watching Colin Cowherd. Everyone's out on J.J. McCarthy. And, well, did you see? Yeah, you got Justin Jefferson. Did you see his offensive line? Did you see it? I saw it. The kid's not perfect, but I'm not really to sell out on the kid right now. That's crazy. What are you going to do, Mac Jones him? Because Fog City's really happy to have Mac Jones right now. I kind of speculated yesterday that what if Mac Jones plays so well, because Shanahan always does well with these fringe quarterbacks. What if he plays so well they don't want to pull him out of the lineup when Brock Purdy comes back, and they just gave 50 rocks to Brock Purdy or 45 rocks to Brock Purdy? That would be so fun to see the 49ers with that dilemma. Seahawks went into Pittsburgh yesterday. We'll talk about that. We'll break that game down a little bit here as we move on. Cardinals, of course, they beat the Panthers. Thursday, we saw that game. We talked about it. Browns at Ravens, 41. I thought it was 41-10. It was 41-17. Browns hung around for a while. Good. You expected the Ravens to do that, and we'll see how it plays out this coming week. Jaguars at Bengals. I took the Bengals, and I was pretty close. I was pretty close right there. And the Bengals pulled it out. Giants at Cowboys. I took the Giants. Cowboys won, and so yeah, I missed on that one, and that was 43-7. What a great game! In fact, man, between that game, between Georgia, Tennessee, was it Notre Dame, Texas A&M? There were some off the chart games this weekend. Bears at Lions. I think the Lions got sick of hearing people talk about them. They won 52-21. So good for the Lions and bad for the Bears. Everyone's talking neck about Caleb Williams, that the party is over. 49ers at Saints. Mac Jones, we talked about that, 26-21. Now, this one's interesting. Are the Saints playing better than we thought they would? Because they only lost 20-13 to the Cardinals, and they only lost 26-21 to the 49ers. Now, are we overrating the Cardinals and 49ers, or are we underestimating the Saints? That one's kind of interesting when you think about it. Patriots beat the Dolphins. Mike McDaniel, first coach to be fired this season, I have to believe. Bills at Jets. Steelers needed a 60-yard field goal to beat the Jets. Bills just went in and beat them 30-10. So that tells you there. Seahawks at Steelers. Seahawks won 31-17. Where's their defense? Where's their defense? It's funny, Jalen Ramsey's playing great, but as much money as the Steelers pay for their defense, where is it? Where's the defense, right? Now, Steeler fan Rob, he's going to be really mad at me, but this Steeler fan Rob, you have to show no mercy to. When the Rams fell apart with injuries in 2022, I said injuries, and all Steeler fan Rob did almost every week during that season was, "Hey, Joe, when the Rams going to run it back?" Ha, 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 and he's laughing. So laugh at the Steelers all you want, because I think they really made some big mistakes. I heard they were talking about how Caleb Johnson's this, and forget about the kick return. They're not even giving him the ball in the backfield. Is Jaylen Warren going to stay healthy? Jaylen Warren looks good, but is Jaylen Warren going to stay healthy for the whole season? Aaron Rodgers has limitations, but it was funny watching that game yesterday. You're watching Skoranek play for the Steelers, Jalen Ramsey play for the Steelers. You're watching Darian Kendrick and Cooper Kupp play for the Seahawks, let alone what we saw in the Ram game. You had Johnny Hekker and Van Jefferson. And then you go to the Sunday night game, and you had Raheem Morris and Kevin O'Connell coaching against each other. And then you had Leonard Floyd on the field. It was like a Rams reunion going on around the NFL. Cardinals-Panthers, 27-22. Cardinals are not playing their best ball. They're 2-0. They're a week 2-0. Colts beat the Broncos 29-28. There's a suspect call there, but Danny Dimes is now called Indiana Jones, and they're playing well. I took the Broncos in that one, and sure enough, that one came back to get me, and the Colts won. Eagles-Chiefs. Everyone's preaching that the Chiefs dynasty is over. You know, dynasty schminesty. They're talking like they're not a great team. If Travis Kelce has got his mind on football instead of Taylor Swift and worrying if she's going to write a song about him after they break up, then he might have held on to that pass. If he holds on to that pass, Chiefs likely beat the Eagles. And the Eagles don't look so invincible now, do they? They look very mortal. And that was a 2017 win for the Eagles. Falcons at Vikings, I expected a lot more. I don't like rooting for the Vikings, and now I know why. They let me down. I'm mad at Raheem Morris. You think he could do the Rams a solid? We need the Falcons to lose, and they won 22-6 last night. But again, I don't know if that's all on McCarthy. I think, young quarterback, rookie quarterback in one sense, but also no line at all to speak of. And so, I think you got that one. Now, speaking of next week, right now, Buccaneers and Texans are playing. No updates, please. Chargers and Raiders tonight at 7. But speaking of next week, Rams going into Philly. My feeling about that is Rams just did what they were supposed to do. They beat the Titans and they beat the Texans. Okay, they're 2-0. I think a lot of people put this one in the L column for the Rams going in. It's a freebie. If the Rams lose, it's not the end of the world. I'm happy for the game early. The Rams get film on the Eagles. They get another look at them, another chance to figure them out. The only way the Rams lose in Philly next week has nothing to do with scoreboard. The only way they lose in Philly is if there's any kind of major injury. That's the only way they lose in Philly. Otherwise, I think all things being equal, this Ram team has a shot against Philly. Philly fooled around with the Chiefs yesterday, and they fooled around with the Cowboys, and they might be cruising for a bruising, right? And they're playing games. They're blanking around, and they may find out next week against the Rams, given the Rams' defense. But we'll see, right? Big receivers. A.J. Brown's a load. And we'll see if the Rams can make some plays there. See if, as Jared Verse was saying, take better angles against Saquon Barkley, who is not exactly lighting it up just yet. So that's interesting stuff to keep an eye on. Let's look at some questions here before we let you guys roll. Let's see. Boom. Let's see. Corum is so explosive his feet flew off the ground. Jesus. Ram 74. I think this is the Merlin Olsen day, isn't it? Ram 74. This is a common start for Kyron in the last 2 years. He's actually having a better start, arguably. All right. Again, I'm not anti-Kyron at all. I'm still pro Kyron. ESG, Devontae was being held all day yesterday, literally in the end zone, right? Unbelievable. USA X-Pac could have easily been 44-19. Yeah. And again, that touchdown, Rams gave up 19 points, but one touchdown, and that touchdown was a fluke. That touchdown, that was the only thing that didn't upset me. I didn't like the score. I didn't want the Rams to give up a touchdown, obviously. But when you looked at it, that was such a fluke. It shouldn't have happened, and it did. So there we go. Let's see. Any truth to the rumor Weatherspoon is out for the season? He's on the IR, and it's open for him to return later this year. That's what I heard. That's the last I heard. Trade picks for Sauce Gardner. No, I don't want Sauce Gardner. I really don't. I want to hold on to those picks for offense, eventual replacement for Stafford, more weapons, more things along the offensive line. But I don't want Sauce Gardner because it's going to cost too much money. It's good, and the Rams don't pay money, really, right? You better be Jalen Ramsey in his prime for the Rams pay money. Let's see. It's good to see the defensive line taking advantage of Verse being doubled and triple team, especially young. Absolutely. And that's the part where it gets a little tricky, right? Is that, I was surprised they acknowledged Jared Verse's defensive rookie of the year last year. He only had 4.5 sacks. But we saw what he did, the disruption and everything. And you see him. They're constantly focusing on him. But everyone else is showing the ability to get home, and it's making it work. Absolutely, ESG. USA expat. Later in the season, could we see Limmer at center, Corum starting, and Ferguson as our number one target? I'm with you on the first one. I don't know about the other two. I don't know. Ferguson's got to take some leaps, but that might be exciting if he gets it together. Tim Burns just told Steeler fan Rob we are making fun of Pittsburgh on RamView. Oh, beautiful. Great. USA expat. What about our opening drive TD? It happened, right? It happened. It was, I didn't know what I was seeing actually until I saw it. ESG, who is Browning backup? Because that's the Cincinnati offensive line is awful. I don't know who their backup is. I just know it's not Virgil Carter, AJ McCarron, or Eric Wilhelm, but I don't know who else it would be. Donald Hollis. I'm not sure who their backup is right now. Tim Burns, Shador isn't even getting scout team reps anymore. Coach doesn't want him. I know. That one's weird. That one is really weird. USA expert. I'm back to normal. Vikes suck. Yes, they do. Been watching some college quarterbacks and impressed with Indiana's Mendoza. You know what? I still haven't seen him, and you guys are asking about him. I promise I will. Rams win. Thank you, Rams win, for joining us. I don't think I've seen you before. Raiders play the Chargers tonight. Do the Raiders still have fans? The Raiders do have fans. I'm kind of rooting for them. I am. I got some ties and friends that are connected a little bit with Vegas, and I'm rooting for them. I'm glad they're out of Oakland. I hope they do really well. And I think, Harbaugh, Carroll, Super Fight 3 should be great. Should be a fun one to watch. Thank you, Rams win. Please like, subscribe, stick around. We love having you. Tim Burns, there are some ugly 2-0 teams with us in the NFC West. Yeah, just enough to build false hope. That's what we want. ESG, the classless Detroit Lions running up the score on the hapless Chicago Bears, unlike the classy Rams, who took on at the goal line. Okay, I'm going to talk about this one. I'm sorry, Paul Richardson, I overlooked your question. Is Blake Corum already looking better than Kyron Williams? Surface-wise, yeah. I'm not saying he is better, but surface-wise, absolutely at this point. Now, ESG, Detroit running up the score, okay? We're going to disagree on this a little bit in one sense. Rams didn't run up the score, which was kind of cool, because my feeling is I don't want anyone to get hurt. I'm not. I'm always afraid someone's going to get hurt. And no one's going to have any pity on you if your quarterback, running back, receiver, somebody gets hurt. So the fact that the Rams did that, great. I'm glad they didn't kick a last-second field goal, because after the blocked PAT, I didn't want something bad happening and people questioning Cardi and all those things. So I was good with it with the Rams. The Lions, I don't know what the room was like. I know they say they like Ben Johnson. That's cool. But I'll say this from my perspective. When I did a lot of sports writing and I took some heat, of course, covered a lot of prep football, my feeling was when the other team is running up the score, it's up to you to do something about it. And I know I coached a lot of basketball teams, and I knew my guys weren't taking things serious before the game. They weren't taking things serious in practice. They weren't taking things serious. And then after the game, when they're getting blown out, they're all upset. And, it's like, what are you talking about, guys? You lost this game before the opening tip-off. And so I would literally, because in some of those youth leagues, they have a running clock, and I would literally tell the other coach, and he says, hey, Joe, don't worry. I'm just working on something. I'm going to call off the dogs here. I said, no, don't. And I would tell him, run up the score all you want. I would tell him, Full court press, all you want. I want my guys to suffer. And I would use my timeouts to extend the game because I wanted my guys to know what it feels like. We're all not going to play pro, right? But the lessons you learn in sports is the world kicks your butt. And until you respond to it, it's going to keep kicking your butt. The world has never said to any one of us that, oh, you're having a hard day? Okay, I'll be cool. I'll give you all green lights on the way home. And I know that's going long on that Detroit-Chicago thing, but my feeling is if Chicago doesn't like it, freaking do something about it, right? Freaking do something about it. Now, I know there was probably some other emotions there. Detroit didn't like what happened in week 1. There are some connections. Every time we play a brother, every time we play a best friend, don't we want to rub it in? Don't we want to talk neck? Don't we want to talk trash? Yeah, and stuff. And so if you don't like it, do something about it. And so it's on Chicago. That's how I feel. I'm sorry. That's how I feel, ESG. That's just my opinion there. I know people say, you're a pastor. You're not supposed to think that way. Well, I'm human too. Michael Negretti, can't trust the Vikings. Vikings suck. There we go. Absolutely. Thank you, Minnesota. ESG, thank you, Minnesota, by the way. Oh, Ramsey with the interception versus Kupp was wild. It was, seeing all those guys. And, Kupp had a decent game. Was it 7 catches, 90 yards, I think they said? Bad first game. I'm happy for him. I don't want Kupp to struggle. I think I said Kupp's going to have a pretty good bounce back year. It'll be his last hurrah, but he won't be great. He won't be Cooper Kupp of 2021, but he'll have a decent year, right? But I think it'll be his last decent year. It wasn't a decent year last year. Let's see. I am choosing Rams over the Eagles now, Mr. Tim Burns. You are choosing the Rams over the Eagles because of something I said. I think the Eagles are vulnerable. I think they are, but while I want the Rams to win, I'm not going to be heartbroken if the Rams lose. What we do want to see is want to make sure they get in and out of that game healthy. Steve Ramirez, I'm scouting Drew Allar in a few weeks. Oh, is Penn State coming to Rose Bowl? I didn't know that. All right. Good for him. Good for you, Steve. ESG, this will be game 1 of the Rams revenge tour, number 2 being Detroit. Hey, and I'm with you on this one, ESG. Run up the score on Detroit. Run it up, right? Run it up until they rot and lie stinking in the earth. There we go. Tim Burns. So now that no one is touching Arch, who do we look at quarterback if he continues to suck? I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. If Matthew Stafford stays on course, everything goes well, we win a Super Bowl, and the dude wants to come back and Kelly's good with it and he's still healthy, I might put off another year. I'd find more pieces to put around him. I'd find another great offensive lineman. I might, something else. I would double down. And this I'm taking this from Coward. Coward said this 4 months ago, 5 months ago, and I give him full credit for it. I thought it was a great line. It's like, if he plays well, if he's not showing any signs, and literally, folks, he's not showing any diminishment in terms of the throwing that ball, and then his experience and seeing things before the snap. It's just amazing to watch. Amazing. So I don't know who to draft. I really don't know who to draft. I was leaning towards Clay Kubnik from Clemson, but Clemson, huh? Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's your guy and Steve Ramirez's guy, Drew Aller. Let's see. Tim Burns. I am going to Raider fans' house at 6:30. They are a scary group. They play for keeps, right? As long as they're in reality, right? Are they living in reality? Because sometimes those Raider fans don't live in, like Dallas fans. Sometimes they're not necessarily living in reality. Okay, here we go. Let's go. We're gonna wrap this thing up here. Where we got? It was a stone group, my man. All right. On this day in 1952, 73 years ago, one game after winning the NFL title in 1951, Rams head coach Joe Steinhardt resigns, and he's replaced by Hampton Poole. Steinhardt did not get along with Dan Reeves, the owner. On this day in 1971, the Rams released Carl Sweeten, who then promptly tries to sell his playbook and is arrested for it about a year later. let's see, 1975, Rams on this date trade touchdown Tony Baker to the Chargers for a 5th-round pick. Born on this day in 1940, Merlin Olsen. Merlin Olsen would be 85 years old today if he was still with us. Leroy Irvin. Leroy Irvin is, what is he, 43? He is 68 years old today. Passing away on this day, on the same day, September 15th, 2001. Former Ram great, part of the Bull Elephant backfield there, Tank Younger. He passed away at the age of 73. And Dwayne Osteen. Now, Dwayne Osteen's interesting because he was one of those guys that was like a fringe player, made some contributions to that 79 Rams team, got a pick, played in the Super Bowl. And then the next year he found himself with the Raiders in 1980, went back to the Super Bowl and won a ring. He passed away in an auto accident, I think it was in 2001, at the age of 46. And on this day in 1974, Rams beat the Denver Broncos 17-10. I remember that game really well. I saw it on TV. Billy Van Heusen was the punter for the Broncos. Rams got that win. I remember that clearly, watching that at my house. I think that's it. I think we're good. All right. Okay. We'll come back later this week and update that. I think I got some fun news there for you. Let's look at some questions before we go. Rams win. I was joking about Raider fans. My brother is a lifelong Raider fan. He hates that the Rams are strong and growing in LA. Steve Ramirez, I believe it was pronounced Sweetan. Okay. Sweetan. Sorry. There we go. I got his football card. Let's see. I was joking about the Raider fan. My brother is a lifelong Raider and he hates the Rams. This is Rams win saying this. Rams are strong and growing in LA. But you know what? Between Spy Tech, Brady's influence, Carroll, I think this is the best chance the Raiders have had in a long, long, long time to steady this ship, to keep it going in one direction. Vegas will go crazy for this team. They're crazy for this team now. And they're going to go really crazy for this team when they start winning. I'm not saying the Chiefs are done, but the Chiefs are mortal. The Chargers have the Spanos curse always attached to them, that Spanos stank, right? Broncos are going to get better. They're struggling right now, but the Broncos are going to be better. So the Raiders have an opportunity here. You know, I think you should be excited if the Raiders win 8 games this year and then they'll build to next year. And Geno Smith might have his best ball still in him. So, yeah, I'm not going to say go Raiders, but Raiders are pretty good. All right, it is 5 o'clock and 4:58. I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you for hanging out with me when football is going on. I do appreciate it. We will be back on Wednesday. Tomorrow, I'll be broadcasting the first RamView. God bless. Take care. We'll see you soon.